Good afternoon, welcome, and thank you for being here. Welcome to what we used to call little old Lake City.
Yep.
It's not so little and it's not old. It's a new, growing, vibrant, diverse community, and it really is the right spot to kick off this exciting King County initiative, and that is the expansion countywide of our Dropbox program for ballots. We're going to end the year here in November with 43 of these beautiful new ballot drop boxes all over King County. And that will result in having a drop box within 3 miles of more than 91.5% of every King County resident. So that's good news, right? Hey, these boxes are very, very popular. They're very popular. In the last 4 elections, about 22% of all of our voters have returned their ballot to one of them. In our more recent elections, it's been 25, 26, 27%. So 1 in 4 voters have said, I'm going to mail it in. I'm going to find one of the limited drop boxes we had and get it there. And it really is about responding to that customer demand, the demand from our residents to lower barriers to voting and to increase access. And to me, that's a broader issue than just voting. And it's really about empowerment. It's about empowering citizens to participate in our democracy, to make positive change. Positive change, and Lake City, what's going on right here in this community is an example of that. But without participation and the ability to participate in a meaningful way, you can't do that. So our Director of Elections, in concert with the County Executive and the Council, really undertook a leadership role on this. Julie Wise is our new Director of Elections and put together last year a fabulous plan that really paid attention to the communities that needed these ballot drop boxes the most. We looked at economic opportunity areas. We looked at language barriers. We looked at a whole number of factors to say, where are communities in the county that need easier access to voting? And Lake City scored number one of all communities countywide on who should get a drop box, and that's one of the reasons we're here today. We've got a committed leader here in the Director of Elections to making sure that we increase participation in our democracy. This is one example of the work she's doing. It's my pleasure to welcome all you to Lake City, and particularly our Elections Director, Julie Wise, who will give you a little more info.
Thank you, Councilmember, and thank you to everyone who was able to make it today. I'm so excited about rolling out these new Dropbox locations. It's something that we've wanted to do for a long time. We've had such amazing partners in Councilmember Dembowski and the rest of the County Council, the Executive, and the Seattle and King County Public Library systems. I'd also like to acknowledge Chance Hunt, who's here with us today. He's the Assistant Director for Community Partnerships and Government Relations for the Seattle Libraries. Thank you, Chance. I believe that my role as Director of Elections is to remove barriers to voting. To me, that means providing ballots in more languages to meet the needs of our increasingly diverse community. It means advocating for the changes that make it easier to register to vote, and it means making it more convenient and easy to vote, especially through ballot drop boxes. The Lake City Library location is obviously a great one. My staff assessed more than 100 potential locations and worked with the Council and the Executive's Office of Equity and Social Justice and many community partners to come up with that final list of the 43 ballot drop-off locations. And you all will get to use these very soon. Ballots dropped in the mail for the primary today, and you'll have your ballot within the next week. Please vote for this in this primary election. It's an important one. All of them are actually really important ones. But I mean, there are a lot of really great races on this ballot, really important races. U.S. Senate, several congressional races, governor, lieutenant governor, and many, many state House and Senate races, just to name a few. It's a really long ballot, so get started now. Ballots must be postmarked by August 2nd, or you can save a stamp and use any of our new ballot drop-off locations throughout the county. Make sure you have it in the box by 8 p.m. August 2nd. You're gonna get a list of your locations, of the new ballot drop-off locations in your ballot packet. It's also available in your voter's pamphlet, and it's available online. Thank you.
Hey, it is really a great honor and privilege to be here in Lake City and to have our county executive, Dow Constantine, who hails from West Seattle, come up and join us for this special announcement. The county executive has been a tremendous leader on issues of equity and social justice, has really led our government to be a better, more responsive and proactive government on these issues. This is one example of where he's been a good supporter of these kind of projects. Please welcome to Lake City, King County Executive Dow Constantine.
Thanks, Rod, and thank you all for being here today. There's a famous and often repeated story about Benjamin Franklin. He was leaving Independence Hall in Philadelphia in 1787 as they were completing the drafting of the Constitution, and he was approached by a group of citizens, and a woman, Mrs. Powell, asked him, well, doctor, what have we got, a monarchy or a republic? And Franklin turned to her and said, a republic, if you can keep it. Keeping the republic requires more than simply the consent of the governed. It requires more than the mere acquiescence of the people. It requires an active, informed, democratic participation. Democracy is not a spectator sport, and that is why it is so critical that we make the ballot accessible to as many people as possible, that we make sure that folks are given every opportunity to help run their government. So I'd like to thank the King County Council. I would like to thank our elections director for their collaboration to achieve this remarkable expansion of access, tripling and then quadrupling the number of these secure drop boxes all across King County. And I really want to thank the library systems of King County and Seattle for hosting more than half the drop boxes. They are all on property that folks have cooperated in providing so that our democracy can better function. Why do I have such an interest in voting? You may not know this, but my job depends on people being able to vote. But also, I've been on the ballot now, my staff tells me, 18 times, not including student body president at West Seattle High School. And we only had one drop box in that election. But as a former Democratic district chair, and as someone who's worked on a lot of other folks' campaigns and worked on a lot of big issues that have been presented on the ballot, I have a real interest in making sure that folks get to have their voice heard. As a legislator, I served districts that had many lower income residents, many new immigrants, many refugees, many folks who, in the parlance of politics, are one of four or two of four voters, or maybe less than that, people who don't often participate maybe outside of a presidential year. But the fact is that we have been moving in this region to try to make voting more accessible to people. I have to say that's in contrast to a lot of places in this country that are trying to make it harder to vote, that are trying to exclude people from being able to participate in their democracy. We believe that every qualified, every eligible voter in this county ought to be able to easily vote. Now, when we introduced vote by mail, there was an upsurge in voting. But in recent years, people have been waiting longer and longer to vote. Maybe that's because they're studying their voter's pamphlet more. But the fact is that they need that place to go at the last minute to deposit their ballot. Just like we all used to have to rush over to the local church or elementary school on election day to get in line so we didn't get excluded from voting. So that's why these drop boxes are even more important. Every election matters. Every election is said to be the most important of our lifetimes. This one is the most important of our lifetimes. I trust that the people will get registered, that they will vote, they will take advantage of having more than four times as many places to drop off their ballots. These boxes are an expression of our determination to keep that republic, to keep our democracy strong, to continually increase participation. Political scientist Larry Sabato reminds us that every election is determined by the people who show up. So it's imperative that we provide the opportunity to vote to the residents of Lake City and to the people of every community across this county. Thank you for coming out today to this event. Ballots arrive this week. I will be engaging in the same ritual I always do, coming home, getting it out of the mailbox, sitting down and filling it out, putting a stamp on it, and taking it directly to the post office so I don't forget. But now, with all these new drop boxes, I might even be able to save the price of postage. So thank you so much for working to ensure that every one of us can participate in this democracy. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Dal. Okay, thank you, Mr. Executive. That was fantastic. We've got 3 more speakers. I do want to make some acknowledgments of folks that may or may not speak. The mayor of Shoreline, Chris Roberts, has joined us. He's here, been a great advocate for expansion of voting rights. We're joined by 46th District State Representative Jerry Paulette, right here, ballot in hand. We're joined by our state senator from the 46th, David Frocht, is here. We are joined by Kathy Sakahara with the State of Washington League of Women Voters, who's been a great advocate. In the City Council, this area is represented by Councilmember Deborah Juarez, and her district director, Sabrina Beaulieu, is here. And Mercedes Elizalde is here, also on Councilmember Juarez's staff. We're now going to turn, and I'm sorry if I missed anybody, but get your name up, we'll get it. We're now going to hear from Mark Mendez, who's our North District Council co-chair and a great leader for Lake City. Please welcome Mark.
How's it going? Excuse me. Uh-oh, look what I did.
There you go. You're all right.
My name is Mark Mendez. I'm the co-chair for the North District Council, which is one of 13 neighborhood districts created in 1988 to promote citizen participation and to address a variety of community issues. I've also lived in Lake City my whole life, and I'm very proud to call Lake City home. Lake City has a higher percentage of disadvantaged populations than many other parts of King County and Seattle. This is why I'm thrilled that this ballot box is being placed right here in the heart of Lake City, right next to the library and right next to the service center. I was talking to a low-income senior yesterday, and I told her about this ballot box. She was so excited. She told me she no longer has to decide between voting and paying the bills. There are multiple elections, not just once every 4 years. There are multiple elections, and those costs can build up. So people are very happy about this box. Also, the teens that I'm working with right over there, some teens are going to be voting for the first time.
All right.
They're going to be using this ballot box for the first time. It's going to make it easier for them to vote because we need to hear their voices in Lake City. It's very important. Also, the librarian, Nancy, she told me about 10 years ago, you could drop ballots in the neighborhood center. And it used to have music and party and dancing, and it was a community organizing event. Well, that kind of went away, unfortunately. But now, Nancy's happy about it, I'm happy about it. We can use this as our new symbol of community organizing in Lake City. So thank you very much for King County for thinking about us.
Very nice.
Thank you, sir.
Let's see if I can put this back together here. Our next speaker is the president of the League of Women Voters for Seattle King County, Amanda Clark. Please welcome Amanda.
Thank you. Thank you very much for including the League of Voters in this note.
There you go. Talk
Thank
right
you.
into it, Amanda.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Wasn't
they wanna hear
sure,
you.
there's so many. So thank you for including the League of Women Voters in this noteworthy event. As you know, the League is all about voting. We believe in the power of the vote, and we encourage every eligible citizen to register and cast a vote. As both Dow and Julie Wise have said, we believe in increasing voter access and voter rights. So we're dismayed by the spike in legislation across the country that limits access to voting. Happily, we have not seen that here. And with these new ballot boxes, there are even more opportunities for the voters of King County to cast their ballots. We were optimistic when vote by mail went into effect that more people would vote. Unfortunately, that has not always been the case. So we have been urging King County Elections to install lots more permanent ballot boxes. The number of new boxes, 43 by the general election, is a huge step forward. Their locations, visible in community gathering spaces like libraries and city halls, will be reminders to vote. And I was thinking, people say, oh, I missed the polling places. Well, now you can say, let's meet at the library, we can cast our votes, and then we'll go out for a cup of coffee. Maybe that will encourage more people to vote. We're also happy to know that there's one on the University of Washington campus. So we hope that will encourage more young people to vote. I'm sorry that I can't cast my ballot today, like some people can. The League encourages an educated voter who's researched the candidates and knows what they stand for before voting. And I realize that I need to educate myself on a number of the races. For others of you that may need to get up to speed, the League has an online voter's guide, vote411.org, where you can find candidates' answers to questions. When I do vote, I intend to seek out my closest ballot box. So thank you, King County Council, King County Elections, for making it easier for people to vote. Do you want to introduce Laura? Okay, thanks.
Great job. Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you. Amanda, thank you very much. Our final speaker on the program here is Laura Flores Cantrell, the co-chair of the Seattle Immigrant Voting Task Force, and we took a number of their recommendations from a large body of work that they did to fold into this program. It's been very helpful, and we're excited you're here today, Laura.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank all of the elected officials and leaders from the community who are here today. I'm here to share some background and a little bit of information from the recommendations that the Voting Rights Task Force put forth. The Immigrant Voting Rights Task Force was composed of a broad group of stakeholders. Our charge was to identify, analyze, and begin to address the issues that affect civic and political participation by immigrant communities. Task Force co-chair Sharon Maeda, myself, and the task force members came to consensus on several key issues that impact voting and voter access. I'm pleased to see several key recommendations from the task force are being adopted. If you haven't yet had a chance to review the full report, it is available online, and I encourage you to take a look at it. It's on the City of Seattle Office of Immigrant and Refugee Affairs website. To highlight just a few of the recommendations, the task force report's recommendations on voting infrastructure, of which this is one of the recommendations, included encouraging the use of permanent drop boxes in place of mobile election vans. It also recommended libraries that already serve as natural community gathering places in our neighborhoods be used as placement sites for the drop boxes. And it is exciting to see that over half of the drop boxes will be placed at libraries like this one. Placing drop boxes in neighborhoods with large concentrations of immigrant voters will also help ensure that voting access is more equitably available across the county, including in culturally distinct or geographically and linguistically isolated communities. By making voting as broadly accessible as possible, making it free, making it easy, making it available in community spaces, we believe these are concrete steps toward a more open, responsive, and equitable system for all of our communities. Thank you.
Well, I think you can see that this is not just a place to deposit your ballot. These ballot drop boxes are generators of enhanced democracy, community gathering places, places that will bring people together to really enrich in a community, and that's going to happen, and is happening right here today in Lake City. And I think you get a sense for that it's more than a big metal box, place to leave your ballot. So I do want to acknowledge, I see that Ellen Hansen, the chair of our Citizens Elections Oversight Committee and former superintendent of King County Elections, has also joined us. Thank you, Ellen, for being here. For years, she has worked to make sure we are on a good election system in the county. We really appreciate you. And with that, what we're going to do, some of us have been able to get a hold of the mail and get our ballots, and we have voted. We are informed voters. We voted. We're going to launch some initial, and we've signed them. I should turn this over. Yeah, we've signed them. We put the phone number or email. We've got the security envelope in there. We're going to drop them in the box after Director of Elections Wise cuts the ribbon. So those are the next two things. Then we'll be done.
Okay.
All right. All right, let's get people around before you cut it. All right. Come on in. Before you cut it, let's get this set. Come some people on the side of me. Laura?
Squeeze in here to your right here.
Chris, come on in. All right. Where's the official? Thank you all for being here. You can see the Lake City is a vibrant and growing and dynamic community. Come back to the library, come back to our farmers market, come visit the brewery and the businesses, the bakery across the street on Lake City Way. It's really a great place. We're glad you're here. Don't let this be the last time. Have a good day.